This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. A participant in nearly 700 PGA Tour events. 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Away we go. It's Golf with Jay Delsing on a Sunday morning here on 101 ESPN. And with Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Great show is coming up. It's not often you get a Hall of Famer on the show, but we've got one today. Nancy Lopez, winner of 48 LPGA Tour titles, 4-time LPGA Player of the Year, and a World Golf Hall of Famer. She's coming up. Also, Craig Pratt from HOFer Hope. Many of you write in and ask about how do I get a lesson, what goes into a lesson. We'll do a whole segment on that, just what it's about. And then our mailbag, as usual, coming up later in the show. But as we kick things off, Jay, great to be with you. And away we go with another edition of Golf with Jay Delsing.
Danny, it's a great show. It's a great lineup. This is a lot of fun to do this with you. And let's get rolling, man.
Let's get things rolling with the U.S. Open qualifying. So that was this past week, local qualifiers, and away they go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's a two-step process for most people. And when you see in a golf event the term open, it literally means there are spots where John Q. Public, an amateur, whatever, can try and qualify and get into that tournament. So there's spots, there's sites all over the country that are paring the numbers down. So, for example, we had a site at Westwood Country Club, and Will Postlewaite, our assistant pro at Norwood, qualified, made it through with a 69. But there were about 95 players, and they took 6. And then those 6 move on to a sectional, Danny, that'll happen, probably in about 2 weeks or so, and that'll be all around the country, again, various spots, and then they drill down even further. So if you'll have, sometimes they'll have, somewhere 40 to 70 players here for one spot. The numbers get pretty tight.
You played in the U.S. Open. Not easy thing to do, is it?
No, it's not. I played in 3 U.S. amateurs. I only played in 3 U.S. Opens, which to me it was disappointing. I should have had a better qualifying record. Man, I came so close to getting in a lot of them, but only got in 3. But it was still an honor to play as a U.S. kid. The red, white, and blue meant a lot to me. I always wanted to try to be the U.S. Open champ.
Can I be disappointed in you?
Of course you can.
It doesn't happen very often.
Bring it on.
I wanted you Monday out at Westwood.
Oh, man. The U.S. Open would chew me up and spit me out, bro. No, it's too much for me. But I can remember just going to, preparing mentally and prepping for what you were up against when you played on a U.S. Open course. It's just a lot. It was just a lot. So hats off to guys, Tiger that's won so many, Jack and all those guys. It's not easy winning on those courses.
We're going to hear from Tiger, do a segment on him coming up after this particular segment. But I want to ask you this. Team wins from Sam Snead. He had 5.
I know. Tiger
has none. And so he's one shy of Sam Snead. Where do you stand on that in terms of the all-time wins list? So
Brandel Chambly did a great piece. What's happened, folks, is they're breaking down the wins. Because Sam Snead played in an era where there was obviously no TV. TV hadn't even been invented in part of those times. And so the tour was run, to say the tour was run loosely would be an understatement. A lot of times, I know that when I talked to the great Bob Golby, he would say the guys could make their own pairings, and start the week and things like that. And so what they did is they went back and they had a panel, and they went back over all the wins that Sam Snead had, trying to determine this is relevant, this is not relevant. And they Sam wound up with 82. By the way, Sam was pissed. He thought he should have had way more. So in Sam's mind, they took wins away from him.
And in terms of what? How did they take wins away from him in his mind?
But because he thought that there were 2 you know, he was playing in, say, a Pro-Am somewhere, and there were only two other pros playing, but he shot the low score. That should count as a win.
I got you.
You know, and so And it's extremely interesting. But Brandel Chambly did a wonderful job of kind of dissecting this. In Tiger's 82 wins, he has 0 of those. Sam's got 5 where he had a partner and won and counted as an official win. And to me, Danny, that shouldn't count.
Okay.
That shouldn't count. It's you can put it on your win total, but it should have an asterisk or something like that, because you would have gone to a hole somewhere where you didn't finish out. Your partner made a birdie and you picked up your ball, or you hit your ball in the water and he carried you. That's just different. It's just different. And I don't want to take anything away from great Sam Snead's career and record, and the fact that he never won the U.S. Open is just remarkable. But when I think about them tied and trying to put and I hate the word equality, but trying to level it's like any other thing, Danny. When we do this when we're having lunch and hanging out, playing golf, and watching sports. You can't really compare eras. You know what I mean?
It's very tough. I agree.
It's just really tough. I mean, I would, it'd be great. Just get Tiger one more somehow.
And that would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, and he's not going to play in any team. He's not going to play in any team events. But if he could just knock one off, that would be great. But after watching Augusta, I think it's a long shot.
Speaking of Tiger, there are many that believe that Scottie Scheffler right now is in a Tiger-type run.
Yeah.
Have you had any time to kind of digest what's going on with Scottie Scheffler?
I have a lot, and I've given it probably too much because I'm a nerd and I love this stuff. What's really weird about Scottie is his delivery, and I'm going to talk about his swing in a minute, but his delivery, he's so humble and so low-key, but all that hides a massive fire that burns in him to compete. And I read something earlier this week that talks about, he goes, nobody here understands how much I hate shooting over par. And I don't know, he's had 40-something rounds in a row under par this year. I know, and I don't know what it looks like going back to last year, but we're talking about months, Danny, since he shot an over par score. And that's hard to do. Sure. I don't care if you're on when you do this for a living and day in and day out, and you've been on the grind of professional sports, and you see things happen, you're like, nope, that can't happen. How does that happen? You know how it happens? You play enough. If you play enough, the ball goes to crazy things. I've heard some of your calls where a guy will catch a ball in his glove, the ball stay in his glove, and his glove will go over the wall, and it's a home run, and you're like, how did that, and Jose Canseco gets hit in the head, and the ball. So you see all that, but for him to do that is incredible. For him, what's really incredible, especially for the public, when you watch Tiger, he looked like a super well-oiled machine. He was concise. He was in your face. He was brash and just all about the style points were there, right? Nothing at all looks like that with Scottie. And here's something that even detracts from this more, is his weird footwork. He's got this footwork that you couldn't possibly teach, Danny. We'd never teach your kids, Mike. You'd never say, yeah, let's see if you can move your feet like Scottie does, because most people would probably fall down. But what that hides is this, how stable the club face is going through the hitting area. And Tiger mentioned this earlier in the week. He works the ball both ways. Nobody in today's game works the ball both ways. Tiger will do it, and a few other guys, but not many. He's up there hitting draws and fades and highs and lows and sliding his right trail leg out and bending his other ankle, and you're like, oh, that's not going to be good, and it all goes right where it should.
Jordan Spieth was asked about Scottie Scheffler this past week.
Nothing but extremely excited and happy for him, and it's well-deserved and all that. And then, on the flip side, like, it's kind of the first time I've ever looked at somebody younger than me and been in like that I've driven inspiration. Like, I'm inspired by what he's doing. It makes me want to go out and get better, and that's always been someone that's been older than me. And it's kind of the first time I've really felt that way about someone younger, especially because I play a decent amount of rounds with him here in town. So I'm constantly seeing it, and I'm trying to beat him at home. And when he's playing better than I am, it sucks. I don't enjoy it when I'm side by side, because there were however many years of our life it wasn't that way, and it's flipped, and I feel like I've got plenty of runway to be able to get it back, but it's inspiring at the same time to try to make that happen. So I have nothing in my way of being able to make that happen but my own self. I've got enough. I believe in my ceiling, and I believe my ceiling's as high as anybody's, and I just have to get each part of my game up towards its ceiling. And I've got a couple areas that are about at it right now, and a couple areas that need to get there. And if they do, then I feel like we could go on runs together, I guess.
He mentioned in that soundbite, Jay, a couple of times he's inspired by what he's seen out of Scotty Scheffler. I found that really interesting.
Absolutely. Well, I that Jordan interview was fantastic because he said, I've never looked back at anyone younger than me with any sort of envy. I'm like, hey, Jordan, you came on tour when you were 19. We all looked at you that way, by the way. And it's interesting because that's what competition does. And, you can either run from it or you can run towards it. And obviously, Jordan, I loved what Jordan said. Jordan's got a ton of game. I mean, he's won 3 majors already, and I don't know how many, 14 or 16 events on the PGA Tour, and untold millions of dollars. But he's an afterthought right now, Danny. Unfortunately, when you start thinking when you start thinking of the great players from Dallas, Texas, right now, he's not at first on the list, and that's new for him.
Who was the guy that inspired you? And it doesn't have to be a main name, but somebody you said, boy, I'm chasing him, or he inspires me to be better.
When I first saw Jack Nicklaus play, I always wanted to be like Jack. And then I saw Ben Crenshaw play, and I'm like, this guy is super cool. He was always kind of one of my favorites. He seemed to laugh a lot while he played. He seemed like this personality. So Ben Crenshaw was that for me. Growing up, I just always wanted to try to beat everybody older than me. I never thought about anyone, coming up. I always thought, I want to play with those guys. I want to play with those guys. I want to gamble a little bit with those guys. I want to get in there and mix it up. I want to see where it was all, Danny, about trying to figure out, like, where do I stand? Because it's that the competition helps rank yourself, and it's not a day-to-day thing. It's obviously it changes a lot, but that's really, it's interesting because when you try to get better like that, you're always comparing yourself to the better players, but then you break it down within your own game and you're like, man, I got to drive the ball better. I can't keep hitting this thing in the woods all the time.
Sure.
You just learn because you see, well, nope, I'm not going to be able to beat him if I'm over here and he's over. He doesn't have 2 trees in his way and standing in foot-high grass. I like his spot better.
All right. Tell our listeners a little bit about the Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch in McKinney, Texas. Tell us a little bit about this.
So it's a phenomenal. It's one of the newer TPCs, Danny. It's probably in the 10-year-oldish range. When the Byron Nelson, when you think of the Byron Nelson, when I think of the great Lord Byron Nelson, we were playing at the TPC at Las Colinas, and it was right there at the Dallas Sports Center and the Dallas Sports Club. That's one of the coolest workout facilities and fitness areas you've ever seen in your life. But the great Byron Nelson would sit in a rocking chair, and we'd walk off the 18th green, and he'd sit in that chair, and we'd all walk by, take our hats off, and I'd be like, hey, Mr. Nelson, and he goes, Jay, thank you so much for playing in my tournament.
Isn't that amazing?
I would just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, just, and they do a phenomenal job. They have this thing called the Dallas Salesmanship Club, Danny, and they're the charitable group that runs that thing. Man, they run pro-ams all over the place, and they do a phenomenal job of raising money for the community. For years and years, they had an alignment. They were in line with AT&T, and AT&T was a sponsor there. And unfortunately, they've had trouble locking down a home golf course-wise, and in today's day and age, it's understandable. This golf course was great in our generation, and now the boys just overwhelm it, so you can't create more land on that place, so you go to a different spot. And they've gone out to the one place, gosh, it was way out of town. I forget the name of it, but they only lasted 2 or 3 years out there, and now they're at Craig Ranch. It's a birdie fest, man. It is a birdie fest. You get out of your car, you're thinking birdies. You're on the driving range, you're eating your breakfast, your eggs and bacon, and you're thinking, I got to make birdies. So it's a race to 25 under par. It's not the best field of the year, unfortunately. There's only 3 of the top 40 players in the world that are playing there. But we're going to crown a great champion. We're going to see some great golf, as we always do on the PGA Tour.
Coming up next, I'm going to hear your visit with Craig Pratt from HOFer Hope. Again, later in the show, Nancy Lopez will be our guest, the World Golf Hall of Famer. But tell us a little bit about Craig Pratt.
Yeah, and I'm going to tip my cap to the tip of the cap that's brought to you by the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. 314-966-0303. Colin Burnt, the guys, they're like family over at the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. Call them. They'll get you any sort of car you like. I'm tipping my cap, Danny, to charities. You have a phenomenal charity. Give them a plug.
It is the Dan McLaughlin Golf Tournament to benefit the Special Education Foundation, 20-plus years, and we've raised over $5 million for kids with disabilities.
Unbelievable, and I know how hard that is, and I know how proud you are, and you should be. HOFer Hope is something that Craig Pratt and his buddies started up in Minneapolis, and they raise money for members of the clubs that I should say that again, employees of the clubs that are involved in the game of golf that need help, that they're not making a lot of money. They need, for example, Craig was telling me, we had this one young lady have she saved enough money to buy a 12-year-old car. That's an example of, what some of the things are going on for people to get themselves to and from work and to begin their career. Some of them are young and just starting out. So HOFer Hope is they're working with the Minneapolis section of the PGA, and they're also spreading it into Michigan, and hopefully we can bring it down to St. Louis, the Gateway, and many, many more, where it's just helping. The Gateway section has come back onto the show. Allie Wells and her team are phenomenal people. And Danny, we say this all the time, whether we're pulling up to Belle Reve, whether we're pulling up to Norwood, or whether we're going to the driving range over here in the valley, there's somebody there that's picking up those golf balls for us, man. They're bringing the buckets of balls back. They're cleaning at the tees. They're keeping this place nice. It's all section related. Allie and her team, those guys do all that. So Craig is and his friends from up in Minneapolis are doing that it's just a different way, and it's super cool that he's done it. And I followed him. He's a great guy. He loves the game, and he's growing the game, Danny, all the time. And that's what we're trying to do.
And that's our tip of the cap.
That's the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. Thanks, Colin and Dean Team. 314-966-0303.
And coming up, we're going to play an excerpt of a very interesting interview with Tiger Woods. He was on the Today Show with Carson Daly this past week. Also, some interesting, comments, let's just say. Gary Player talking about Tiger switching his swing over the years and why he reconstructed the swing. If you are somebody that's out there that wants to know about a lesson, what goes into that, you're just a beginner. We're going to go through that. We have the mailbag as well. Nancy Lopez, she's coming up as well. But up next, Craig Pratt from HOFer Hope on Golf with Jay Delsing.
That was On the Range. Up next, we tee it up as we head to the front nine. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's greatest names. Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Longer, Justin Leonard, David Toms, and more will compete returning September 3rd through the 8th. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com for information.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobson, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and it's because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and easy, and their customer service is second to none. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester in Kirkwood, you'll be a customer for life because they will treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is The Front Nine, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. To learn more, visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
Good morning. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm sitting down with Craig Pratt, my buddy from Minnesota, and Holes for Hope. Hey, Craig, good morning. How are you?
Jay, good morning, buddy. Great to hear your voice.
Yeah, hey, thanks for jumping on. So we've had you on the show before, but we're way overdue for a checkup and a check-in. So first of all, please tell our listeners all about Holes for Hope.
Yeah, Holes for Hope was founded by 8 of my buddies here in Minneapolis in the fall of 2018. And we wanted to shine a light on the private club employees here in our state who, work so tirelessly at the clubs, and none of them are getting rich quick. And programs centered around scholarships and benevolence requests because we know the average American can't afford a $400 to $500 expense. And we like to be an outlet to help those employees in the event that they have a need. And so that's the short story.
Oh, it's a great story. So we talk about this, Craig, and you've in order to qualify, has to be a golf course employee or a direct family member for a club employee, right?
Correct. Our first official winner was out of Wayzata Country Club here in Minnesota. It was the son of Courtney McDonough, who'd been working and still does work in the Wayzata Golf Shop for 25, almost 30 years. And good friend of your good friend, Tim Heron, a.k.a. Lumpy. And so both of her sons have qualified. So it's a great program.
Walk us through a little bit of what this assistance does for these folks, because, you're talking about a group of people that for us golf nerds that love golf, whether it's we're talking about private clubs now, but there's these guys and these women that are the boots on the ground, man. They're in the trenches. They're the warriors that do all these little things for us to make our days so much better, that just goes so kind of unnoticed.
Jay, you nailed it. I started in the bag room when I was 16 at the Meadows Country Club, and then parlayed that into, Walnut Creek in South Lyon, Michigan, and then the Boyne Golf Course as well in college. And then a short stint as the assistant pro at Orchard Lake Country Club. So I speak from experience when I say what you just said. The employees can make and break the difference of the club's culture, and how we treat those employees can make or break the club's culture. So it's been a pleasure to be that olive branch and shine a light on those employees in all shapes and sizes. Just last week, we got a benevolence request from a 20-year server at one of our clubs who bought a 12-year-old used car, and no sooner did they buy the car, they had some things go haywire on it. And
yeah, what could go wrong with a 12-year-old used car?
Correct. And one of our board members, God bless him, just happens to know the individual and saw her crying and said, "Hey, what's wrong?" And she explained the situation. Immediately reached out to our board, submitted a benevolence request. We were able to offset almost 2/3 of that expense. I'll never meet her. Our board will never meet her. Our community will probably never meet her. But to know that, we played a small role in reducing some anxiety and giving her hope, that's all I need.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's going to give her a better chance to do her job at a better level, to keep going, to keep showing up. I mean, it's difficult. Craig, when you guys have some fun tournaments, you have a 3-on-3 tournament, a little 3-person scramble, and a bunch of different flights. I know you have the scholarship breakfast that's really been well attended. Where did all this stuff come from, bud? How did you guys come up with these ideas?
Our community, right? It's just, we got some creative people who are finding ways to give back. I was having lunch with Alyssa Heron, Lumpy's sister, and we were talking about the old Oldsmobile Scramble. And that kind of parlayed into our 3-on-3. So I give Alyssa Heron, right, all the credit for that. Our scholarship breakfast, we've seen multiple variations of that, whether it's the Western Golf Association or you name it. And then our gala, right? Thank God for Rocco and Lump for kicking us off in 2019. And then a dear friend of mine, Chandler Withington, who I think
yes,
2 days post his departure from Hazeltine, crushed it for us in 21. And I can't say it publicly for about another 10 days, but I've got another legend of the game coming into Minnesota on October 1 for our gala. And we're only going to add 150 seats, and very well-known individual in this space. So, and he just showed up and said, like you, Jay, he's been following us, and he loves, kind of the DNA of our mission and wants to be a part of it.
Well, I grew up the same way you did, bud. First of all, caddying, and it was a huge upgrade to get to go into the bag room, and I spent, 7-8 years there, and it just was extremely influential in my life and in my golf nerdiness, and it was really cool. So let's talk a little bit about how you're branching out to some of the sections. So you're up in Minnesota, and so you've got the Minneapolis section there, but there's some other folks that are kind of taking notice and want to kind of join the party.
Yeah, we've had some early fans of the mission, and I want to give a shout out to Simon Cowell, Larry Bobka, Ross Fuchs, Sam Cassidy, and the rest of the crew at Second Swing. I mean, they were there with us day one, and I'll never forget at our first gala, Second Swing was offering off in the live auction a set of Titleist clubs, and Larry Bobka stood up and goes, "We'll do 2," and that just was another endorsement for what we were trying to do. But
Great guy, Larry Bobka. I just wanted to jump in there. I haven't seen him in years, but what a great man.
He'll be at dinner with me tonight and Chandler with a group of our Holes for Hope folks, and I'll take a pic and send it to you. But
please do.
Yeah, we've had so many public and private golf courses, in the state, outside the state, come into the mission. Ryan Hanford, past president of Minnesota section, was the inspirational change agent that helped us create a separate category of our mission for the public, semi-resort, semi-private clubs who have aspiring PGA pros. They have no educational funding. We know the steep curve it is to become a head pro, making next to nothing. And so that kicked off. And then most recently, the Minnesota Golf Association, in partnership with their new executive director, John, and their president, Edie Rice, who's a luminary here in Minnesota golf, have embraced our mission. And so we think the same thing's going to happen in Northern Michigan with a few of my dear friends up there at Kingsley Club and High Point and Boyne and Bay Harbor and you name it. And then hopefully the northern section of Florida, where I'm a member at a club in Sarasota with one of your good buds, Paul Azinger, and Scotty Dunlop.
Gator Creek. I think you're talking about Gator Creek, aren't you?
Yeah. And St. Louis native Chuck Fandos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Charlie. Oh, yeah. Man, what a nice man. Yeah.
And you've been great to us since the early days. I'm hoping you still have your Black Holes for Hope Elliott Baggs head cover.
Absolutely. It's covering up a driver that doesn't hit it straight. I can tell you that for sure. It's in my bag. I see it every day. So, Craig, tell us how we can get involved. Tell our listeners how they can donate or volunteer some time or anything. I mean, no one's turning anyone away here at Holes for Hope.
I appreciate that. You can follow us at holesforhope.org, HOLESFOREHOPE.org. We're going to be opening up a Holes for Hope store where you can get head covers, pullovers, caps, you name it. If you think something like this would be interesting for, your community, I've flown into Michigan, to have these conversations personally with members to start the ball rolling. So just reach me, and we'll be more than happy to kickstart this thing and see if we can replicate the model in your backyard.
He's Craig Pratt, and it's Holes for Hope, folks. You got it. Don't sleep on this. Pay attention. Get online, holesforhope.org, and get involved. They're doing a lot of great stuff. Craig, man, thanks so much for jumping on, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Jay, thanks for being a big advocate for us. It's leaders like you that make a difference as we continue to grow this thing.
With Jay Delsing, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. We're halfway home, and next, we'll make the turn.
I am proud to welcome the Gateway section of the PGA back to my show. Whether you're pulling into your favorite driving range, public golf course, or country club, there is an excellent chance that the staff there is part of the over 300 men and women PGA professionals at over 100 facilities that make up our Gateway section. I grew up watching so many of these fine men and women getting to the golf course at dawn, leaving at dusk, spending their entire day running events, giving lessons, and growing this great game. PGA Reach, Drive, Chip, and Putt, PGA Hope, and the fantastic PGA Junior League are a few of the examples of the programs run by these same PGA professionals. Go to gatewaypga.org to learn more, or to find your next PGA professional for your next lesson, go to pga.com. The Gateway PGA, growing the game we love.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's. When you head downtown for a concert or cards or blues game, and now for the St. Louis City soccer game, please come see us at Maggie O'Brien's before and after your event. Take our shuttle to and from, or stay in-house and watch your favorite team on our multiple high-def TVs. We look forward to seeing you soon at one of our 2 locations in Sunset Hills on South Lindbergh or downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
Recently, my nephew called me and said his basement had flooded and all the hardwood, carpet, and flooring had to be replaced. I told him I have the perfect place for you to go. At Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture, this second-generation family-owned business treats everyone just like their family. Jared Capps is continuing his mom and dad's 50-year business tradition where honesty, transparency, and service carry the day. My nephew loved the luxury vinyl product. Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture has the largest selection in the area. Whether you prefer Mohawk and the wide variety of their product lines, I love the Rev Wood product, by the way, or Karistan or Pergo Elements line, Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture will literally have you covered. You have pets? Let Jared tell you about the many sustainable flooring and carpet options that are pet-friendly but also easily maintained to keep your floors looking great every day. And don't forget about their huge selection of Lazy Boy recliners. They are awesome and one of the biggest selections in the Midwest. Call them today at 618-936-0536 and get your free estimate or set up a consultation with one of their experts. You can also go to jerseyvillecarpetandfurniture.net. Proud sponsor of Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Chris Nagel. And you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Are you tired of watching your golf scores go up every year? Despite new equipment and even a couple lessons, you still fight that slice or your inability to get that ball up and down out of the bunker? Well, get ready to experience better golf with Elevate Golf. At Elevate Golf, we're changing the way golfers practice with our innovative and data-driven approach to learning and, most importantly, improving. We have an array of membership options where you can find the perfect fit for your golf, your lifestyle, and your budget. Whether you start in our full-service gym, the short game area that has real sand bunker, or one of our 7 TrackMan simulator bays, the team at Elevate Golf will do a complete assessment of you and your game, which is crucial because if you don't know where you're starting from, it's nearly impossible to attain a goal or a new level. Call us today at 636-265-0557 or visit us at elevategolf.com. That's ELV, the number 8, golf.com. Contact us today and get ready to play better golf.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
So you've been hearing me talk about one of our community's greatest contributors and most philanthropically inclined companies. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Marcone. They're the largest distributor of General Electric appliance parts in North America. Did you know that Marcone is also the largest and most trusted supplier of commercial and residential appliance parts, HVAC, plumbing, commercial kitchens, and pools and spas? All of that's in North America as well. That's right, Marcone does all that. Marcone is committed to supporting our first responders, all the branches of service in our military, our police and firefighters, and many more. From the viewing deck at the Ascension Charity Classic, founded in honor of our military heroes, to their commitment to Reese Across America program, Marcone is here for you and your family as well as your community. That's Marcone, the official sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're halfway home and it's time to make the turn. Let's get back to Jay and Dan.
Thanks to Craig Pratt from Holes for Hope. Last segment, we continue here on Golf with Jay Delsing. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Later in the show, we visit with Nancy Lopez. She's going to join us on this Sunday morning. A reminder that Golf with Jay Delsing heard every Sunday on 101 ESPN from 8 to 10. All right, I want to get your thoughts on Tiger Woods. We're going to hear from him in an interview with Carson Daly of the of NBC that was earlier this week on the Today Show. But I want to hear your reaction to what was said by Gary Player when he said that Tiger should never have changed his swing.
Tiger Woods had his career ruined, completely ruined. Tiger Woods won 14 majors. And then he wins the 14th major, was the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. He won by 15 shots. You know what that's like? It's like running the 100 meters in 7 seconds. The next week he's having a lesson from a man who I don't know if he played in the Masters could break 80. Couldn't. But he's having a lesson from this guy.
Yeah.
And then he goes to another guy who couldn't break probably 85 in the Masters with the pressure, or the British Open, or the PGA on the final day. And he's having lessons from them. Why did Tiger do that? He was so good, but I understand he wanted to get better. But if he just went along and never changed, he would have won minimum 22, maybe more. He would have gone down as the greatest athlete the world had ever seen, man or woman, and the planet. But he made the wrong decision, and it's very easy to do.
Many around golf are in agreement with Gary Player saying, don't change that swing when you're dominating golf.
Danny, the first thing that comes to mind is, don't be an armchair quarterback, bro. Come on.
But it's Gary Player.
I know, but look at Tiger Woods won the Masters by 12 strokes when he was 1997 and changed his swing. Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, yes, he's right. But whatever, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like nobody has that crystal ball. You go down. I did this twice. I changed my swing, and if I would have never changed it if I knew now. Never.
Why?
Because it didn't matter. I should have worked more on, because I was streaky. And what I was trying to do was get more consistent. And I actually did get more consistent. But it didn't matter enough. It didn't get consistent enough to matter enough.
So if you were talking about Tiger,
yeah,
and he's saying, I'm going to change my swing after winning the Masters the first time, you would have said, you're out of your mind.
What is wrong with you? You just shot 40 your first 9 holes, and you played the rest of the tournament, I don't know how many under par, beat the daylights out of everybody, and now you're going to go make a change. And you know what? He said, I know I can't hit some of the shots I need to hit when I need to hit them. That kind of awareness is crazy.
So why do you change your swing? And you just said it. There's some shots that you need to learn or to hit better. I guess I understand it, but in terms of being a PGA Tour professional and saying they need to change their swing, I can't fathom that. I understand if you're the guy that's going out, the gal that's going out on a Saturday, Sunday morning and saying, I just can't hit it, so I gotta change my swing.
Right.
We're talking about a PGA Tour player doing this.
Well, Danny, if you remember, Tiger every once in a while would hit a shot and it would go 25 yards over a green. He was first of all, I asked him this question. We're in the fitness trailer, and he's over getting bent like a pretzel. I don't know if I told you the story. I think it was at the Byron Nelson. I'm positive. We're in the fitness trailer at the Byron Nelson, and I walk in there to get on the bike, and I used to jump in, get on the bike for about 30 minutes before I play, and then I get a good stretch and then go play. And I look in there, and Tiger's doing the same thing, and he's already been on the bike, and he's laying on the table. Okay, now he's on his back. Imagine this, folks. He's got his right leg twisted over the front of his body and his left arm twisted towards his right, basically got his body going in 2 different ways, and it's almost like he's touching the floor with his legs and his arms. And I'm like, just break him in half. That's what I walked in. I said, can you just break him in half? It's one less guy we got to beat this week. And I said a couple of things that I can't repeat, but I was like, Tiger, what the? And he's like, yeah, man, I got hypermobility in my joints. And the next thing for me is I got to go on a big weightlifting program. So the weights have become a massive thing for him in a lot of different ways. But
he's absolutely jacked.
He is jacked out of his mind. But there was purpose in that, because he got with Butch Harmon and said, dude, your swing runs on. If you'll remember, Danny, he would take a 6-iron, and instead of stopping at parallel, a little shy of that thing would run past. Not quite as much as John Daly's, but it would run past. And then because he had so much speed, he couldn't control it. And so what they wound up doing was trying to get his shoulders more stable and stronger so that he wouldn't be so flexible. And that's exactly what he did.
Why'd you change your swing?
I was trying to find my ball more often, man. That's what I was trying to do. But
more consistency.
I was trying to be more consistent. I went through periods of time, D, where I honestly felt like I couldn't hit the thing solidly at all. I remember one time on the back of the range, we're in Vancouver, Pearlie's caddying for me, and it's just one of those times, and I am heating up. And I'm out there, and I've got 7,000. I've hit 1 million balls already, and I'm skinny, I'm fat, I'm hooking, I'm slicing, and I finally skinned this 4-iron out there, and I just let out this tribal scream and took both hands on my 4-iron and threw it right into the electric scoreboard that was right next to me.
No way, you did that?
Oh yeah.
What did the tour say to you about this?
There was just me and Pearlie. So unless Pearlie told me that I didn't break my 4-iron, didn't even dent the sign, but I was pissed.
I bet.
And I'm like, how can this be this hard? This ball's not moving, and I've been doing this my whole life, and I can't hit it. And you know what's irony? The irony is, D, 2 days later, I shot 63.
So it made a difference.
Fuck, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I can remember Pearlie was laughing. We were on a plane because we went from Vancouver to Reno. He was caddying for me for 2 weeks in a row, which was very odd and unusual back in the day. But the plane ride down, and I think they chartered a plane for us. So, I mean, we paid for it, but we got to just sit wherever we wanted, and we were sitting, and he's like, yeah, I can remember on Thursday you throwing a club and hitting that scoreboard, and then on Sunday you hit the same club on the last hole. I started on the back 9, and so I finished up on number 9, was a par 3 at Northview up in Vancouver, and I hit a 4-iron, to about 12 feet or something like that, and I could have had 4,000 balls the other day and not hit a 4-iron within 12 feet of the hole. I can tell you that for sure.
So Tiger this past week, he's on the Today Show with Carson Daly. Carson talks about growing up in California and basically grew up with Tiger, competing against him in high school. Carson is a very good player as well. Tiger, I think, was relaxed and very open in this interview.
100%, Danny. And he picks his spots. Tiger doesn't go where Tiger doesn't want to go, okay? And back in the day, he went on Oprah, and those whole things. So it's very much a constructed plan, right? But he is very comfortable with Carson. Carson's a good guy. Met him, loves the game, and I thought it was interesting some of the parallels that he was bringing up. They both have teenage boys. They're both playing golf. Their fathers were very instrumental in getting them involved in the game and things like that. I thought it was interesting. I also found Carson kind of talking fast.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, whoa, because you could tell he probably has done 6 million interviews, and half of them he doesn't care nearly as much as he cares about doing with Tiger. So I agree with you. I thought Tiger was exceptionally relaxed. I thought it was interesting how they broke down his logo and the new Sunday Red logo. And what's your opinion of the Sunday Red? Do you like it?
I just like him in red on Sundays. So I don't care what the logo looks like. It's just when I think Sunday Red, I think Tiger. And then I think contention.
No doubt.
So
it's going to be interesting. We got the PGA Championship coming up in just a couple of weeks, and it's at Valhalla.
And he wants to play, and he's talked about that as well. Let's just jump right into it. So this was Tiger with Carson Daly, and one of the first subjects they brought up was Scottie Scheffler.
Well, for Scottie, I think that obviously his iconic foot movement belies what the club is actually doing, through the golf ball, how good it is,
right?
How stable it is, how solid he hits it. You just stand back and just watch ball flight. There's something different about his. It's just so consistent, and he works it both ways.
Yeah,
he goes both ways, and it's just a matter of if he putts, decent, he's going to win. If he putts great, he blows away fields. If he has a bad putting week, he contends.
Right.
So he's just that good a ball striker.
I see so many of the young guys, especially even when they're playing with you competitively, they seem to just want to get in your ear. What do they want to hear from you? Other than like technique and swing, what would surprise us that the young guys ask you about?
It ranges. I mean, some of the stuff is cannot be said, and other things
That's the stuff I want to know.
No, you can't. And other things are golf related, and being how did I do it?
Yeah.
How did I do it for so long, or even why did I do it? Why did I make changes in my game? And so some of them are just trying to get better. just like I was.
Yeah, I saw you and Charlie, your son. For those who don't know, who watch the Today Show, Charlie's fantastic. He's 15. We saw you at the PNC. You guys played together there. He's tried to qualify for a few events. Tell me about that relationship on the course. I've got a teenager who doesn't want to hear anything out of my mouth about his golf swing.
Yeah, okay. So,
are you coach? Are you dad?
But he will listen to you about broadcasting, right?
Yeah.
That's the same thing. He listens to me about golf.
Oh, he does listen to you.
But anything else outside of that, because I don't know anything else.
Right.
And even then, there's a little bit of pushback in golf, but which is totally cool. I mean, he's 15 years old. It's what happens, what teenagers go through. They're trying to find their own place in the world. I get it.
Yeah, there was a cool moment at the Masters we saw. I'd never seen this before. Charlie on the range with you, and he had a club, and he was holding it in front of you like this, and he was kind of making these motions. It looked like the two of you were sort of working together on a swing.
We are.
What was that about?
Well, it's just like being at home. It's like being at home when we're practicing at home. I'm trying to keep the club tight to my body.
What is this thing when he's holding the club here? Is that
I'm trying to keep my arm path tight to my body and not let it run on. Basically trying to get my hips to move. And
so you and him are having this dialogue.
I've struggled with my hips moving, and especially since my accident, my right leg doesn't work that well.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time with that. I tend to slide. When I slide, I tend to hit these blocks, and trying to get that out of my system, he puts the club there to incentivize me to turn.
I saw Sam there on the bag too. She's got no.
Well, that was at PNC.
Right.
That was different.
She doesn't want to play golf?
No.
How come?
She has, I think, a negative connotation to the game because at
Why?
that time, hey, growing up, when she was growing up, golf took Daddy away from her. I had to pack and I had to leave. I had to go on for weeks, and there's a negative connotation to it. So we develop our own relationship, our own rapport that's outside of golf, that we do things that is done involve golf. Meanwhile, my son and I, we do everything golf related.
Right.
It's just very different.
You had said at the beginning of the year the idea was to play kind of a tournament a month. That I think at the
I'm hoping to, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if is that timeline still doesn't seem like it's quite working out.
Are
you readjusting?
I have basically the next 3 months, so I have 3 majors, and hopefully, they'll all kind of work out.
How do you feel physically? How did you feel after Augusta?
I was sore.
What do you do? Cold plunge, stretch, all of it.
Cold plunge every day.
All of it
every day, religiously.
In that interview, he mentions how he at times slides, tries to keep his arm close to his body, and blocks. And part of that is because of the injuries that he sustained.
No question about it. It's interesting that you're talking about the different footwork, and Tiger mentioned Scotty's footwork, and you go, wait a second, Scotty's footwork is working more effectively than Tiger's. And you look at Tiger's just really suffering from a lack of mobility, lack of strength, lack of mobility. I've heard, Danny, I've said this on the show before and talked to you, privately about it, but I've heard that leg is gone if it's anybody else, that they amputate because it was so badly mangled in that crash. But yeah, it's interesting. There was a lot to unpack about what Tiger said about Scotty. Specifically, I remember when Tiger would, and I was a second alternate at the Valhalla PGA, and our good buddy, Hall of Famer Bernie Federko, jumped in the car with me, and if I got in, he was going to caddy for me. And Tiger was doing a clinic with Lanny Watkins, and Lanny was chirping the whole time, chirp, and Tiger's like, "You really talk a lot." And then Tiger just started hitting balls, and I said to Bernie, "This is the difference. Watch this. It's just totally different. It's just a different animal when Tiger would hit those irons." And he said this. He's saying the same thing about Scotty, which is really interesting. And Danny, it's interesting on the tour because you need to get to a certain age where you are comfortable giving another player major kudos. And Tiger is at that age because if he was younger and he was more, he wouldn't be saying those really, really nice things about Scotty, I don't believe.
One of the things that you just made me think of, I was privileged enough to go to one of Tiger's clinics and be inside the ropes, so to speak.
Yeah.
And this is when he first started his foundation, and he came through and his inner city kids that were coming out.
Yeah.
Jay, one of the things I saw him do was he took a kid's club, so it wasn't measured for him, had a wooden head on it, and just hit it. It was a driver, hit it off the deck and hit it about 250 yards. It was one of the most, I got goosebumps thinking about it. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And it gets me to this. Those clinics are so much fun to be a part of as a spectator because you're going to see shots you'll never, ever see on the course with somebody in competition. But you guys are amazing at what you can do to handle a club.
Oh, it's so much fun, especially someone like Tiger. But, I mean, you get to, move the balls left or right,
Shaping
right
shots
to the high
all over,
and low and all that stuff. It's super, super fun. I can remember just watching Tiger. I may have told you this, Danny, up in Buick Flint, he was carrying a Buick golf bag, and his face was plastered all over there. And we didn't play together that week, but we were right next to each other. I finished on Sunday right in front of him. No, he finished right in front of me, and the amount of people were just insane. And I said to him at one point during the week, because our tee times were just right around each other, I'm like, dude, your face. He's like, I don't even see it anymore, man. It's just I don't even look. I don't even. Yeah. And I watched him in his warm up, Danny. And once I watched his warm up, I changed my warm up after that. He'd do whatever he did and then go back to a wedge. Whatever he'd do, he'd go back to a wedge. He'd start off with just a couple little pitches and stuff that's obviously with a wedge. And then he'd work to maybe a different wedge. And then when he'd go to his 8-iron, he'd hit his 8-iron 4, 5, 6 times and then go back to a wedge. And it's interesting. It's way more the way you play golf. Instead of ripping 5-irons, he'd hit a bunch of 5-irons and then go hit a bunch of drivers. He would hit his 5-irons and then go back and hit wedges. Mm-hmm. And it was all to help rhythm and get a sense for feel of the club. It was really interesting. Man, I was glued to him that whole week. It was super fun. I wish I would have got to play with him, but I'll tell you what's really interesting. He finishes at 18 at Warwick Hills at Buick Flint and the Buick Flint tournament in Flint, Michigan. And Danny, there had to be 50,000 people on 18. And I had just made a birdie, and there was a bunch of roars. It was super cool for me. And we so you kind of walk underneath the bleachers a little, where they had this special area for the players to continue to walk into the scorers area. Right? And all of a sudden, Tiger's gone. There's all these people there. He's gone. He's not in the clubhouse. He's not. So there's like a state trooper and a guy and all of a sudden he's in the car and gone.
And that was it.
Yep. And people are like, where'd he go? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll sign something for you. Like, no, we'd rather not. But it was just amazing how he could just vanish, and people are like, what? And
he probably had to do that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because if not, he never would get out of there.
Oh, and it also would gum up everything.
Sure.
I mean, we weren't the last group, and a lot of what he does and did was out of complete respect, A, for the game, and B, for his competitors. And I really, really admired that, because it's a circus when he's out there playing, and he knows it, and he does a lot of really super cool things out of respect for the guys playing with him.
We have Nancy Lopez coming up. She's going to call into the show, and a winner of 48 LPGA Tour titles, 4-time LPGA Player of the Year, World Golf Hall of Famer. I can't wait to visit with her. There's a ton of subjects we can get into.
And you and I got to spend just a little bit of time with her a couple of years ago, or was it last year? Whenever.
Last year, she was at the Ascension.
She had her arm in a sling, and she was still holing putts and doing all sorts of stuff. But when you start thinking about the women's game, and I want to talk to her about that. You start thinking about the women's game, and start thinking about what she did and how she came on the scene, Danny, and blew it up immediately. Couldn't have been easy.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been easy. And, she was playing for nothing back then. Nothing. Maybe we'll bring that up, maybe not, but, you just have to admire. And she always had a dang smile on her face, And
class.
She's just super classy.
Looking forward to it. Nancy Lopez coming up on Golf with Jay Delsing.
That was Making the Turn. Coming up, we head to the back nine. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Do you remember the golden rule? I'm sure you do, but just in case, it goes like this. Treat people the way that you'd like to be treated. At People's National Bank, that one statement is the cornerstone of what this bank is all about. Locally owned, with 23 locations in Southern Illinois and the metropolitan St. Louis area, People's National Bank parlays a robust menu of commercial or personal banking services you could possibly need, with a friendly yet hardworking Midwestern attitude. Maybe you just want to do business with a bank whose entire team lives in the same neighborhoods as we do. If you're like me, and doing business with someone you trust is important to you, then People's National Bank is the bank for you. Jason Rantham, local president, is here for you to call, and he'll answer any questions you may have. His personal cell is 314-974-2243. You can also find us online at peoplesnationalbank.com. People's National Bank is here for all of your banking needs.
This is Paul Lazinger, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
A professional golfer, as you watch on TV every Sunday afternoon, never ventures onto the course without his trusted caddy. This was true for me for my entire career. I want you to think of Powers Insurance as your insurance caddy that you never had. Just as my golf caddy helped me to assess risk on the golf course, Powers Insurance can do the same for you in your busy and complicated life. Tim Davis, COO at Powers Insurance, did exactly that for me and saved me over 50% on one of my coverages. A good insurance risk advisor can help you know when to take a chance or when it may be smarter to take a little more club. Give the folks at Powers Insurance a call and get a caddy for all of your insurance needs. Call them at 314-725-1414. That's 314-725-1414. That's Powers Insurance.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's biggest names: Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Langer, Ernie Els, and more will return September 3rd through the 8th at Norwood Hills. All tournament proceeds go to area charities serving North St. Louis County youth and families. Sponsorship opportunities, Pro-Am foursomes, and more information available for you at AscensionCharityClassic.com.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hey, Jay Delsing here, and I know I speak for all of we golfers. We're always looking to try to improve our game. For me, that means I go to one place, and that one place is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened his family business in 1975 with a goal of providing St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and technology. Whether you need a new rangefinder, your first set of clubs, or anything else you can think of, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. If you're a scratch handicap or you carry a 20 handicap, come visit Pro-Am Golf and inquire about a lesson from Tom DeGrand. He's been fixing golf swings and making St. Louis better at golf for over 40 years. Go get your gear, lessons, or anything golf related where I go, and that's Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. You can also visit them online at Pro-Am Golf USA. That's ProAmGolfUSA.com. It's Pro-Am Golf, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make, and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. The Back Nine is presented by Pro-Am Golf, located in Brentwood. See what Pro-Am Golf can do for you.
Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Doherty Business Solutions, continues from the CarShield Studios. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and what a pleasure it is to bring in the winner of 48 LPGA Tour titles, four-time LPGA Player of the Year, and a World Golf Hall of Famer, and that is the great Nancy Lopez is with us.
Oh my gosh, what an honor. Nancy, good morning, and thanks for joining us today.
Hi, good morning. You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, it was so great to have you come back to St. Louis for the Ascension Charity Classic, and man, St. Louis just has such great golf fans, and I know they loved seeing you get out there and play. I think they were a little pissed that you beat everybody one-handed with your putting. I think last year you had your arm in a sling and you were still holding putts over there.
Yeah, thank God that sling's gone. But that was a lot of fun. I was going to try whatever way I could do it. I was going to try.
Nancy, you jumped out to an incredible run in your rookie season, winning time after time again. Before we get into your career, what are you seeing with Nelly Korda and just the amazing run that she's on right now?
Well, I've known Nelly since she's been on the tour, and I knew her sister Jessica before I knew her. And I got to watch her play a lot of golf because she was in my pod in the Solheim Cup 2 years. That when I was assistant to Julie Inkster, and I knew before anybody else did, because I was watching her, that she was going to be great when she realized how great she was, because she just had what it takes to be a winner on the LPGA tour. She was very good. She was a very good putter, hit the ball well, very consistent. You could tell she really focused, and she was no nonsense. And when she got out there to play, she was playing hard. And I told my husband, I said, when Nelly figures out how good she is, she's gonna win a lot. And watching her win the last 5 weeks has been a lot of fun. Of course, that brings a lot of attention to the LPGA tour, which we need. I mean, we have great players from all over the world, but you're in the United States of America and you want to see a U.S. player win. And I know a lot of people have commented to me about that. And I always give them an example, because Sari Pak invited me years ago to come to Korea when I was on the LPGA tour, and she had just come out there. And when I went to Korea, they didn't want Nancy Lopez to win. They wanted Sari Pak to win. So that's pretty much the way it is here in the United States. And now that Nelly has been winning, we've had players like Lexi. It's important for us to have somebody dominate that's from the U.S., I think. And I really feel like she's going to bring more people in the gate. People love her. She's just really a superstar, I believe.
Yeah, and that's where you're leading me with this. Did you feel like you changed the face of women's golf when you stormed out to a record 9 rookie tour victories, including 5 in a row, which is what Nelly's done here? Did you feel like that you really changed the face of women's golf?
Well, I don't know if I changed the face of women's golf. I think that, somebody else probably would think that, but I was just trying to play golf, and I was young. I was 20 years old, and everything was new and fun, and I was winning money, and I was winning tournaments, because I had no money when I came out on the tour. And so, being able to play and enjoy winning, I love the competition. I liked being nervous. I liked having to make putts to win or tie or whatever. And what was fun was watching that happen, because I remember when I was trying to win my 3rd in a row, and they put my name on the board at Colonial, like down, like 3rd or 4th, and like I was creeping up, and so the press had a lot of fun with that, and it was kind of fun to see that. But when you're 20 and you are experiencing something like that, it was really a special time for me to be able to win golf tournaments, like I said, and make money.
Nancy, how much additional pressure did you feel? Winning that often as a rookie is unheard of. That just does not happen. And then to have the record, I guess there's 3 of you now that have this 5 in a row. There had to be extra pressure each week as this thing kept going.
You do have a lot of pressure because, the LPGA tour was growing, and we had great players before me that were playing great golf. We had Donna Capone and Judy Rankin and Kathy Whitworth and Carol Mann and all these great players that, as we played on the tour, we passed the baton on to the next player, the next generation of players. And I felt like that was happening to me. And there was a lot of pressure, because once you start winning like that, the sponsors expect you to come to their tournament, and you just can't do it. So I felt pressure from the sponsors. I did feel pressure from the press, and that after I won 9 tournaments my rookie year, the question was, are you a flash in the pan? Are you going to have the sophomore slump? Are you really good? Those kind of questions. And of course, they put that in your mind. And so the pressure for me was to show them that I wasn't a flash in the pan, and that I wasn't going to have that sophomore slump. So year number 2 probably had more pressure because I wanted to prove to the press that that wasn't going to happen to me. Unfortunately, I won 8 tournaments that second year. So you have a lot of pressure. But you know what? I always felt like when I walked inside the ropes, the only pressure I was feeling was to hit that shot great. And when I walked outside the ropes, I dealt with all the pressures outside the ropes. So the thing too is responsibility. Now, Nellie's going to have a little bit more responsibility because everybody wants to see her. And she's now, as I felt my rookie year, that the competition, being able to compete and push the LPGA Tour to a better place, because I felt a lot of pressure that I went to more press conferences and I knew that I had to do it. It was a responsibility for me to help my tour grow. And so I took that and I accepted it. There were days though that, when they asked me, the LPGA asked me to do a lot of stuff. And there were days I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it. It was for my tour. And if I could bring 100 more people in the gate, that's what it took if they needed me to do that. And of course, I felt a lot of pressure during that time from some of our commissioners because of the sponsors want you to play every week. And it was really, really hard to do that. Even at a young age, it was hard.
Nancy, you basically became the face of the LPGA Tour. I mean, 17 wins in 2 years. And what I remember most about you, your style, you always seem to be smiling. And, when you were here and playing and getting to talk to you, I was realizing just how competitive you were, but you hide it all with this really beautiful smile. And it's really kind of almost... I was surprised at how much you wanted to win. I don't know why I was, but it was just, this outward exterior, and you look like you're just, we're having a good time, and you've got this beautiful smile, and over there you're beating people's brains in.
Well, I was always competitive, and my dad told me one day, because I used to suck my thumb and I didn't have straight teeth, so and he couldn't really afford for me to have braces, but I remember him looking at me and he says, I need to make sure you wear braces because one day you might be famous. And it was funny when he told me that. Of course, I'm like, okay, Dad, just I want my teeth to look good, and he did too. And so I wore braces for 5 years. And so I always kind of joke that I need to use these teeth and smile as much as I can. But, my dad helped me love the game. And when I'm out there, I enjoy people. I really love people. And for me to be out there doing something that is fun, something that I love, and I'm still very competitive, even now that I don't play full time. Whenever I'm playing with my husband or we're playing in a team match against some of the other members, I want to beat them. I don't want them to beat us. So I'm still very competitive.
It's interesting you mentioned your dad. Your dad was who taught you the game of golf, correct?
Correct.
And what did he teach you? Like, how did he get you going? What was the way that he introduced you to the game of golf and you said, ooh, I got the bug and this is something I want to do?
Well, he and my mother played, and I would go out with them just to walk with them. And I was almost 8 years old when that started. And then one day he handed me a club, and he had a really strong Spanish accent. And the way he said this, he said, Nancy, every time you swing, make connection. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I'm swinging, and so him and my mom are going on ahead and playing, and I'm swinging and swinging and swinging, trying to hit it. And, finally I started making contact, and, I loved it. I fell in love with it from the very beginning. And my most favorite thing about golf at that time was putting my dad's golf shoes on and listening to the spikes on the concrete. That was the best crunchy, crackly sound that I enjoyed in golf. That was the first thing I fell in love with. And then just being out on the golf course with my mom and dad was special. And then loving the game. And that's what my dad wanted me to do. He didn't want to force me to play golf. He wanted me to fall in love with golf because he knew then I would want to practice and that he wouldn't have to make me practice. And I did. And so he started, I played in the Pee Wee tournament my first full year of playing golf, and I was 8. And it was I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico. And this was in Alamogordo, New Mexico. And it was a Pee Wee event. And I played 3 days, 9 holes each day. And I was probably shooting 69, 70 around there for 9 holes. And the other little peewees were there. We weren't very good, but I ended up winning that tournament by 110 shots. So I was a little bit better than some of the peewees that I was playing with, but it was fun. And I got my first little trophy that week. And so that kind of started the love of, you know, it wasn't about money when I played on the tour. It was about that darn trophy. I wanted that thing.
Nancy, I've never heard anyone say that about the spikes, but I got to tell you, when I was able to put on spikes and walk on concrete, now we don't have spikes, and I'm glad because my feet are so sore. But those spikes were so cool.
Yeah, they were. They really were. I loved them, and I remember wearing my dad's shoes all the way around the house. I'd go outside and walk on the concrete, and I would wear his spikes out. He'd have to change them.
That's just absolutely fantastic.
We're visiting with Golf Hall of Famer Nancy Lopez, one of the classiest people you'll find in sports. ESPN's Greatest Athletes of the 20th Century. You're the only women's golfer that was included. What does that mean to you?
I mean, I'm always honored when I get any award, you know, when they recognize what your contribution is to golf, because I know that I always wanted to contribute any way that I could. And of course, it's just an honor when especially when I'm the only woman in anything that they award you to. You know, women have always tried to move forward in all sports. You know, and back in 1977, when I was just getting my card on the LPGA Tour, you know, I sat there one day and just said, gosh, you know, why don't we make as much money as the guys do? And I was just young, but I said to myself, you know, we're going to catch up. We're going to catch up with the guys. The purses are going to keep growing. And yet we've fallen short of that still. So we've always, you know, and I was before Title IX, I was trying to get a golf scholarship, and no one would give me one until Tulsa University decided that they were going to have a golf program, and they paid for half my scholarship, and then I won the Colgate-Palmolive Golf Scholarship. David Foster was the CEO, and he loved women's golf, and so I was able to get a full ride. So I went through a lot of things growing up as being the only woman. I played on the high school boys golf team after a civil liberties union lawyer brought it to everyone's attention. There was a rule back then that women were not allowed to play in body contact sports. And when she called me, because I was on JV, she said, do you know that there's a rule that's keeping you out of golf to play with varsity? And I didn't know that rule. But we figured out that it wasn't that golf was not a body contact sport. And so she went to the Board of Education, and they let me play because there was not a girls golf team. And if I could qualify to play with the boys, that I was going to be able to do that. So she kind of opened the doors for me to have the opportunity to play with the guys. And it was good for me because the guys were better than me. And it made my golf game better because my dad always said, you're only going to be better if you play with people that are better than you. And I think playing on the boys golf team helped me accomplish that.
Nancy, it's so interesting, isn't it, when you kind of look back and when you're on the forefront of blazing some of these trails, you at the time you may not realize it, but then you look back and you think about, man, there was no girls getting to play, you know, high school golf and things like that. There's very few. I have 4 daughters and a hugely female pro and everything, you know, to try to get the girls going. When you mentioned Siri Pak and what's happened to women's golf from, I think it was in 1998, I think, Nancy, when she first came over and wound up winning the U.S. Open shortly, you know, thereafter. What's happened with the wave of South Korean players it's staggering.
Well, you know, they saw Sari come over here and be successful, and I feel like they're like, I want that. I want to be able to play on the LPGA Tour and do what Sari Pak was doing, and she was a great player. I hate that she left the game, but I think there was a lot of pressure on her on the outside the ropes from family. And, you know, after a while that just wears on you. And, you know, one day she told me she just didn't like playing golf at that time. There was just too much pressure. And what kind of saved her, she hurt herself and couldn't play for a while. And I think it just made her feel, when she came back, she felt motivated again to play, this great game that I still love to play. And she still hits it a long way. She was here with me and Annika and Lorena when we hit the first tee shot for the women's amateur there at Augusta. And she didn't bring her clubs, but she hit a driver just out of the pro shop, and she must have hit it 290. And just crisp. And it was just amazing to see her, because she always hit the ball really far. And just a beautiful golfer, really great golf swing. And I just think she could have been more successful if there was less pressure from the outside and probably from her country.
Nancy Lopez is our guest. You won at such an early age, as you mentioned, and won a lot and won big events. If you could go back and talk to that little girl, what advice would you give her now?
Wow, good question. Well, the thing is, whatever I experienced was, enjoy what was happening to me. And I would say that to myself and I did do it. I enjoyed what I was doing. My dad helped me love the game to where I enjoyed everything about it. Even when I didn't play well, my dad always made me feel like anything was possible. And I think with that attitude, it just helped me to overcome, a bad day of golf or a bad shot or, failure, because I think you learn from failure. And my dad was just the perfect golf dad, because he never put pressure on me, always hugged me. If I didn't play well, he always had a hug for me. And I always tell this story because it meant a lot to me, because I think parents don't realize that when their young person is on the tour, that we don't need somebody to scold us after we've played poorly. Because my dad always told me, I know you didn't want to play poorly, and he always had a hug for me. But I was playing in the U.S. Open in Philadelphia as an amateur, and you always work hard to play in the U.S. Open or any major, because the golf course is going to kick your butt if you don't have a good golf game, or you're not prepared for it. But I remember I had worked really hard. Really hoped that I could win that U.S. Open, because I never won the U.S. Open. And I was 12 over par after 2 days, and I walked off the green on Friday. My dad was there, and I was sobbing. And I said, Dad, I'm just so sorry I didn't play better. And he was so sweet. He hugged me, and he said in his Spanish accent, he says, it's okay. I'm just happy I didn't see you at 25 over par. So when he said that, if it was okay with my dad, then I was happy. And I remember going from sobbing to laughing with him, because that's the way he looked at golf, and that's the way he looked at competition, that, you're not going to win all the time, but it's the way you accept it and get ready for the next time that you play. And he was a great teacher of the mental part of my game. And the other part of my game, my swing was unorthodox, but it worked. And he never wanted me to change it unless it stopped working.
Nancy, it's really interesting, and I'd love to get your take on this too, because I feel like the real hard lessons are learned in those defeats. And the beautiful game, the thing about the game of golf is that, Nancy, if you shoot 69 and I shoot 70, I know exactly what I have to do. I have to get better. And some of those defeats, really, you find out what you're made of.
Absolutely, you do. And I know through my whole career of playing on the LPGA Tour, and even as an amateur, when something in your game is not working well, you practice it, and you can control that. You can get better. And I always did that. I never over practiced, but I did practice my putting all the time. But, when I didn't hit, my middle iron's good, I'd practice those, and then I'd go home, and then I'd come back the next day with confidence again. It was all about, just figuring out what you needed to do to be better. And I loved golf. I loved practicing. I don't like practicing now, but I used to love it. But it was just a great time in my life to be able to play a game that I loved, have the support of my dad. My mom passed away before I ever went on the LPGA Tour, but just to be able to experience those things. And I never looked at golf. I never let golf control me. because a lot of people do. I have a company called Nancy Lopez Golf Adventures, and our mantra is play happy. And that doesn't mean that after you miss a shot, you start laughing about it. It means that it's an attitude you have after you miss a shot when you go to the next one. And that's what my dad always told me. He says, he told me that when I played better when I played happy. And so he, taught that to me from the day I started swinging a golf club. And I think with that, it helped me to get through a lot of things. And I mean, I won 48 times on the LPGA Tour, and I always tell young people, I promise you, I didn't play perfect golf. I had a few doubles, maybe even a triple, but I never gave up. And when I went to the next shot, my dad also said, if you have a backswing, you have a chance. So if I could swing at it, I felt like I could knock it in the hole. So there was a lot of things that I looked at in a positive way, and that's what helped me, I believe, be successful on the LPGA Tour.
As we head down the stretch with Nancy Lopez, World Golf Hall of Fame member, I want to ask you how you feel that the game has changed. From your perspective, you won 48 times on the LPGA Tour. How do you think the game has changed?
Well, the purses have grown, which is great. My rookie year, I was the first player to reach $200,000, which was a lot of money back then. And I feel like I'm pretty good friends with Annika, and I kind of picked on her one time because she won 9 tournaments a few years before she retired, and I kind of nudged her. I said, Annika, how much money did you win when you won 9 tournaments? And she kind of, sheepish. I told her what I had won, and then she sheepishly looked at me. She goes, "Oh, I don't know." And I'm like, "Yes, you do." And I said, "You won $5.5 million." Of course, then I said, you need to tell me thank you. And she kind of laughed. But
there's a lot of truth to that, isn't there?
100% there's truth to that.
But where was I going with that? So the sponsors too, they want to have the best tournament. Not that they didn't back when I was playing, but maybe they really couldn't have the best tournament, the biggest purse or whatever, and the best golf course for the players to play. Which I remember my rookie year, there was one golf course that was in such bad shape. I kind of said, "Gosh, I played better golf courses as an amateur." Of course, I didn't say it that week because I would never wanted to offend the sponsor. But we had 2 holes where they had cut the greens out of the fairway, and we had automatic 2-putt. So those are type of things that were going on my rookie year on the LPGA Tour. So we've come a long way. And I was at the tournament that Nelly won, the 5th in a row. And oh my gosh, it's a major event. Chevron took it over from Palm Springs when it was the Nabisco Dinah Shore and the ANA. And my gosh, there was so much going on. I mean, you could feel it like it was a major. And it was just awesome. I mean, I'm happy that all those things are happening now for the players on the LPGA Tour, and would love to still be playing on the LPGA Tour after seeing all that.
And the LPGA Tour wouldn't be there if you hadn't done some of the things you've done. And I just realized, Nancy, and I wanted to ask you this before we let you go. I just read about your being added to the board of directors for the Folds of Honor. That's a great organization here at the show. We've had Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney on, I don't know how many times, but they just continue to help the families of our fallen heroes. And now you're on that board. I mean, that's really cool.
Well, and they're also helping first responders now. And, Folds of Honor is a wonderful organization, like you said. I remember when I met he was Major Dan back then, but I met him at Vince Gill's tournament where they're raising money for junior golf. And when I met him, and he's really a good player, and when I met him and I get to see what he was all about, and he truly believed in what he was doing with Folds. And so I started, my husband was in the military also, and so we would go to some of the Folds events, we would just go. They would ask us to come, and we'd go to the tournament. We'd be with all these people that love their country, that wore red, white, and blue, that wanted to take care of, first responders and fallen soldiers' children, give them the opportunity to go to school. It was just perfect for me. It was something that I really wanted to be involved in. Like I said, my husband was in the military. He wanted to be involved in it. And so when Colonel Dan asked me if I would be on the board, I was honored when he asked me to be on the board of Foals. And of course, I was teasing him. I said, so what do I have to do? Because I don't like to extend myself too much, because I want to make sure when I say yes that I do my job. And when he asked me, I said, all right, Dan, I said, what am I going to have to do? And he says, you just have to go to 4 meetings. And I'm shaking my head going, yeah, right. Because when you get involved in an organization like that, it's fundraising, and it's not just meetings, it's serious stuff, which, like I said, I wanted to give my all to help Foals any way that I could. So I did tell him yes. And like I said, I'm honored to be on the board of Foals. And, we're just going to keep doing whatever we can to make someone's life a little bit better. And just thank all the people that given their life for our country and for me and my family. It's just important. We go to American Dunes because they have a golf course there that Dan has, he redid it with Jack Nicklaus. And to be able to go there, you need to go there. If y'all never been there, and anybody out there that plays golf, it is the most patriotic, wonderful place to be. And I always told Colonel Dan, I said, it's like going to church. Everyone's there for the same reason. And to go to the American Dunes and play golf there and just feel so awesome, because your country is what it's all about. And when you get there and you see this great big flag blowing in the wind, and there's a memorial as you walk in, it says freedom isn't free, and they've got pictures of fallen soldiers. And then at 1300 hours, they play taps when you're playing golf, and everybody stops and they put their hand over their heart, and the music's coming out of the golf carts. And I mean, you're really honoring, the people that gave their lives for us, and you honor the people that are there still fighting for us. So it's just really a cool place, and I would recommend to go there if you have a chance. It's just a beautiful, beautiful experience and place.
Nancy, this has been sensational to visit with you. You've given us a lot of your time, and it's an honor to talk to truly one of the greats that ever played this game. And thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. To connect with Jay, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. You'll see the latest in equipment, find the latest innovations in golf, and get tips from a PGA professional. That's jdelsinggolf.com.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our Back Nine Bar and Grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hello, friends. This is Jim Nance, and you are listening to Golf with my friend Jay Delsing.
I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area, with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's. When you head downtown for a concert or cards or blues game, and now for the St. Louis City soccer game, please come see us at Maggie O'Brien's before and after your event. Take our shuttle to and from, or stay in-house and watch your favorite team on our multiple high-def TVs. We look forward to seeing you soon at one of our 2 locations in Sunset Hills on South Lindbergh or downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next up.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
This is the Teacher's Corner. It's time to get a lesson from a PGA Tour professional. To submit a question, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. Let's get back to Jay and Dan.
Welcome back to the show. It's Golf with Jay Delsing. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Got to say, that is one of my favorite interviews that we've done. We've had some of the biggest names in golf, but the great Nancy Lopez.
I agree, Danny. She was just, I know she's gotten inundated with requests because of Nelly and this success, and I can't wait to get the great Annika Sornstrom on the show as well. She's agreed to come on. We're just working on scheduling. But, yeah, how gracious. What a cool human and what a champion, period. Okay, great golfer, Hall of Famer, but I mean, that kind of attitude and that kind of giving, that's rare.
All right, we're going to jump in the mailbag as well, talk a little bit about a golf lesson, and we're going to go more into this next week. Yeah. But just simply, how do you prepare for a golf lesson?
Well, it's interesting, D, because if you sit and think about the stuff that you and I, mostly me, but you're around me, when people come up and what they ask, it's all in this lesson category, right? It's always like, oh man, I can't chip the ball in the green. Oh, I want to get 20 yards further off the tee. I think the biggest thing is to get yourself as physically capable as far as you can go, meaning maybe lose 10 pounds, maybe stay flexible, whatever it is, because your physical limitations are going to make whatever you're going to try to do in the golf game harder, right? So all I'm trying to think of is if you can stay a little mobile, that's going to help a lot. The biggest thing is having an open mind, because what's going to happen is your instructor, whomever he or she is going to tell you things that A, you may have known and forgotten, or B, you've never heard before. And what it's going to translate to, Danny, is an entirely different feel, which is, I've told you this before. Remember when we were working on your pitching last year? You go, man, that feels weird. And I said, good.
Yeah,
good,
exactly.
Right? And then all of a sudden you're chipping one in and you're hitting that ball and you're spinning and you're like, whoa, look at how that ball spins. So what I'm saying, folks, is that let that newness, let that
weird feeling
be okay. Yeah, it doesn't feel necessarily good. Watch the ball. The ball doesn't lie. That's the biggest thing you need to know. And if what he or she is telling you is getting that ball to fly the way you want to, then you're onto something. If not, the chances are, folks, and Danny, we talk about this all the time. When we were playing, we had a statement that says, your feel ain't real, meaning what you feel like you're doing with the club is not what you're actually doing with the club. And for amateurs, that's the case for sure. It's just, it feels one way, and then you look at vid and you go, oh no, I'm still doing that. And Danny, I'll make this contention. This is for myself. I have 3 tendencies that I can work on that I would work on all the time. And at one point in time, when I was still too young and dumb to know better, I thought, well, I fixed this. And as soon as I jump on video, I'm like, no, I haven't.
Right.
It's better. And the reason that it's a tendency is because I'm always going to have it. One of my tendencies is to always stand up there. And when I get playing well, I'm right-handed, and I'm strong with my right hand, and I want my right hand in it more. Instead of being soft along my side while I'm trying to hit a shot.
You turn the ball over a little bit?
Or anything.
Yeah.
And it leads to all sorts of, it's an equal opportunity bad lender. It sends your golf ball flying in all sorts of different directions. But I think if you can find out that one tendency or 2 tendencies and work on that's a really good start for almost anything, even putting. It's not a big swing, but chances are you're doing something in there that not get the ball rolling on the line that you want to, and you're going to have to feel weird or unusual to get it to perform the way you want.
And this is from Mike in South City, wants to know, hey guys, heard you talking a lot about Scotty Scheffler. Jay, heard you go into a mallet putter. How's it going?
Not bad, Mike. And Mike sends us, I don't know how many. Mike, I love it. Don't change your location, because I want to make sure I know that when you're sending us this stuff that it's you. We really appreciate it. And it's going pretty well. Now, I'm a little off on the speed of my distance putts, because when I swing this thing and make a bigger swing, I get the sense that I'm going to smoke it. And so I'm coming up short on a lot of them because I'm just a little bit tentative. But I haven't had enough time. We're off of mats now, which praise everybody for that. And the greens are coming around. So I'm going to get to spend some time on there and kind of hone this thing in. But I really like the feel on some of my shorter putts.
Tommy and Creve Coeur, guys, love the show. Heard you talking about the Byron Nelson. Jay, was that one of your favorite stops along the way?
I didn't have the results, Tom, that I wished that I'd had at the Byron. I had a couple of nice events there. I never loved the golf courses. Not that they were bad golf courses. They were in great shape. They just didn't suit my eye. And so, but I can't say enough about the honor that I had to be able to meet someone like Byron Nelson, who won 11 tournaments in a row on the PGA Tour, and forget about that thing ever being touched.
I'm watching you get a little emotional talking about this.
Yeah, so I just love it. When I think about it, Danny, when I was a kid, got my tour card when I was 23, and I meet him when I'm 23, and I'm thinking, I just have my hands so full. It was just overwhelming, and I look back at it now, and here's a guy that's done all he's done, and that guy in the game of golf, and knowing my name and being so gracious to me. I mean, how'd that happen?
We get a lot of questions this week about putting. Best way to read a putt. What is it for you, Jay?
Ooh, that's a good one. So there's a lot of things. So when I first step on the green, folks, I am feeling with my feet. I'm trying to feel how hard, how firm it is, how much slope there is. So when you get on a green right away, and if you use your feet, you'll realize, oh man, this is uphill at the front. Or sometimes there's a false front, Danny, where a little extra that you got to carry in the front of the green. That certainly helps. And then I was told this thing when I was a kid, and I always remember it. If you had a bucket of water or a trash can or even a hose, and you were spraying this, dumping a lot of water on this green, which way would that water roll? So it would eventually soak in, and then you got too much, it's going to head towards the low spots. That's the way to help try to tell, how this ball's going to break. And then putting is interesting because you've got to have the speed, Danny, match up to the read. You can hit putts firm and play a lot less break. That's the thing. That's what Tiger used to do as a young champion on the PGA Tour. He doesn't do that as much anymore. But so there's almost some magic involved, Danny, between matching up your speed and the read, because you can play a right edge putt and hit it very firm, and that ball will turn a little to the left and go right in. Or Ben Crenshaw used to love to die his putt, so he would hit a ball out, and that thing would just drip into the side. So it's the most creative part of the game, where you can match your touch and your feel, your speed and your eyesight, and all of these things come together beautifully. And it's almost magical when that happens. When you've held long putts before and you get to see them, you're watching them and you're like, ooh, that looks pretty good. And you watch them, you read it right, and it just rolls in. It's a great feeling.
Susie, Lee May Ferry, guys, love the fact that you had a female on the show. Loved Nancy Lopez in the interview. But, Jay, I got to ask you, do you miss the metal spikes?
I do miss the metal. That's a great one. That is a great one from Lee May. Thank you for that. It was the coolest thing. When I got to wear, Danny, this is so dumb, but I would actually drag my feet a little on the concrete so it would make more noise. Wasn't good for my spikes. It wasn't good for my feet, but I can remember there was something, Danny, when I was a little boy, before I ever saw golf shoes, my dad had his spikes on, his cleats from baseball. Yeah. And they made that noise. And I was like, what's that noise? And then I look and I'm like, my dad's got these things coming out of the bottom of his shoes, and then the next thing I saw was golf shoes. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be able to make that noise. And I think of it now and how sore my feet are now. And those spikes used to kill me, Danny, on a 36-hole day, right at about the 28th or 29th hole. It started, and you're like, oh.
They're barking, huh?
These nails are coming right up through the bottom of your feet. Like, thank God I only have 8 more holes left.
Buddy, this has been a great show.
I love you, D. I love you doing this. I could, chirp about this stuff all day long.
Well, let's do it again next week.
Thanks for doing it with me. Absolutely. Can't wait to do it next week.
We do it every Sunday here on 101 ESPN. It's Golf with Jay Delsing, and we always end it this way.
Hit him straight, St. Louis. Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA and LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, a large short game green designed to help you with all your shots around the green, bunkers, rough, and Zoysia fairway pitching. And now open the Tahoma Bermuda Grass Tees, the best turf to hit from in St. Louis. It's all at Family Golf and Learning Center. To schedule a lesson or to find out more, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area, with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make, and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, Mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions. Are you tired of watching your golf scores go up every year? Despite new equipment and even a couple lessons, you still fight that slice or your inability to get that ball up and down out of the bunker? Well, get ready to experience better golf with Elevate Golf. At Elevate Golf, we're changing the way golfers practice with our innovative and data-driven approach to learning and, most importantly, improving. We have an array of membership options where you can find the perfect fit for your golf, your lifestyle, and your budget. Whether you start in our full-service gym, the short game area that has real sand bunker, or one of our 7 TrackMan simulator bays, the team at Elevate Golf will do a complete assessment of you and your game, which is crucial because if you don't know where you're starting from, it's nearly impossible to attain a goal or a new level. Call us today at 636-265-0557 or visit us at elevategolf.com. That's ELV8golf.com. Contact us today and get ready to play better golf.
This is Jim Hackenberg, founder of Orange Whip and Orange Whip Training. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and it's because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and easy, and their customer service is second to none. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester in Kirkwood, you'll be a customer for life because they will treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. Recently, my nephew called me and said his basement had flooded and all the hardwood, carpet, and flooring had to be replaced. I told him I have the perfect place for you to go. At Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture, this second-generation family-owned business treats everyone just like their family. Jared Capps is continuing his mom and dad's 50-year business tradition where honesty, transparency, and service carry the day. My nephew loved the luxury vinyl product. Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture has the largest selection in the area. Whether you prefer Mohawk and the wide variety of their product lines, I love the Rev Wood product, by the way, or Karastan or Pergo Elements line, Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture will literally have you covered. You have pets? Let Jared tell you about the many sustainable flooring and carpet options that are pet-friendly but also easily maintained to keep your floors looking great every day. And don't forget about their huge selection of Lazy Boy recliners. They are awesome and one of the biggest selections in the Midwest. Call them today at 618-936-0536 and get your free estimate or set up a consultation with one of their experts. You can also go to jerseyvillecarpetandfurniture.net. Proud sponsor of Golf with Jay Delsing.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. To connect with Jay, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. You'll see the latest in equipment, find the latest innovations in golf, and get tips from a PGA professional. That's jdelsinggolf.com.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our Back Nine Bar and Grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's. When you head downtown for a concert or cards or blues game, and now for the St. Louis City soccer game, please come see us at Maggie O'Brien's before and after your event. Take our shuttle to and from, or stay in-house and watch your favorite team on our multiple high-def TVs. We look forward to seeing you soon at one of our 2 locations in Sunset Hills on South Lindbergh or downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.